BTFU.
All right, welcome back to another week of No Rules NRL. And today, Gav, we've got a special guest, another Wood.
Well, I thought it was actually Nat with no hair. Hey, they look spitting image, don't they?
He looks like me.
Yeah.
He looks like you. Sounds like you.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, it's funny. I looked you up on Wikipedia and it comes up ex-boxer, ex-football player, Nat Wood's brother, he reckons.
And a better fighter.
You wouldn't believe, and he couldn't stand this. When I was, what do you want to say? When I was on the scene in my prime, everyone used to think, "Oh, are you Garth's dad, are you?" So he used to get cut up because he had the silverback. Are you Garth's dad? What's your name? And he went, "No, I'm his fucking brother." Well, and he used to get that filthy. Everyone on the street, "Oh, you're Garth's brother. You're Garth's dad, are you?" And he went, "Fucking, I'm his brother, mate." He used to get that cut up and filthy. So that's me old
Poor
man.
bugger.
He's my dad.
Hey, terrible to get old, isn't it? Yeah.
Mate, you knocked out Chalk, won the contender, knocked out Chalk. Was that the highlight?
Yeah, Chalk was my highlight. But to be honest, where I come from, meaning I was in a bad state, broke up with my missus, who I'd been with, who was more or less my first girlfriend. I had 2 kids together. Football had been finished. I didn't have a job, so I was more or less down in the dumps, and I went missing in action for a while with the wrong crew. Johnny Lewis rang me from out of the blue and said, "Mate, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sweet." And he knew exactly what I was up to. He said, "Don't fucking lie to me. I know you're in a bad place, but mate, never mind. This is what's possible if you can come in." Shannon Taylor pull out of the contender, but you've only got 3 days if you want to come in. So I think I walked out of the Colombian.
So he
Hailed a cab.
followed his brother's footsteps
Is that
there.
Colombia?
The Colombian flu.
At least you've been dancing for 3 days, so you're fit as fuck.
Yeah, I was on weight, but yeah, just special for climbing back to reality more or less and winning the contender, because there was easily some talent in that whole stable. I think there was 3 or 4 top 10 super middleweights in the world. I know I was just a novice. I'd only had probably 4 fights, and I think I just wanted to prove more to my daughters, because my daughters knew that I was, off and gone and depressed and always crying and that before I actually went missing. I was just in a bad state, but I was more proving to my daughters that, I'm a good guy and I'm not giving up on them, because there was a stage there where I was giving up on myself. So it was very emotional, the contender, but then I got another bite at the cherry and the winner gets to fight Mundine, and then I made sure that everyone was probably thinking, he's a brawler, he's an NRL boxer, they can't box. But I went and did a real big preparation in LA, and we fought some guys that were very similar to the bloke who had the fight in the final. And then, it's amazing what happens on a preparation. And we talk about Tim Zoo now and what he's going through with that Charlo dodging him and that. I think he went over there to America all eager to fight him, and I'm sure he would have transformed and he would have found so much belief in himself. Yeah, because that's what happens on the road to the big fights, and the fight's won in the ring or in the gym more and on the road. Yeah. So I just transformed that much, and I come back and I got to dance with the man, the mouth, and I ended up dropping him in the 5th round. But Fenny had a big part to play in that preparation for me. And people say it was a fluke. He closed his eyes when he threw the punch, but we prepped for the whole thing. We hit him in the body. He's going to run because he's weak in the stomach, and then it's going to take his head off. And it's exactly what we trained for, me and Jeff. So yeah, and if it's how you plan your attack, and it was more or less. I could have done that with my eyes shut, in the sense of over and over and repetition, and that's what boxing's all about. So it's a special sport, and someone who's no one like myself scaled to some high mountains, and it's the best thing that happened to me.
You touched on Tim Zoo. He's just announced his fight with Carlos Ocampo. Let's go back one. What did you make of his last fight? I was out there.
I was out there too, mate. I was impressed with him. I always watched him as a kid coming up, and the sad thing is everyone compares him to his old man. His old man and him, they're totally 2 different fighters. He can hit you with a flurry of punches and knock you out. Tim, where Costa, 1 punch knockout, dynamite in both hands. But I thought he really come along, and he stepped up a couple more levels. Tim, even though Harrison, who he fought, maybe past it. I just think he's just grown in confidence, and the simple fact that he's a WBO world champion, super welterweight champion now, his confidence is high. But I think this is a hard fight. This is a scary fight, given the bloke's record.
Is this another step up? This bloke got knocked out by Spence. And he just got beaten his last fight. But outside of that, he's had 34 wins, 20, only the 2 losses.
And 22 knockouts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where Harrison, who he fought last time, look, he was fast, he was showy. I don't think he was the same fighter as what he was.
No, not
4
the bloke
fights.
who-
Ever since he got
fought
knocked
Charlo.
out, Harrison wasn't the same.
Yeah, and it does that to you.
It does. And, is this a real fight?
I believe the bloke's record says enough. I haven't seen enough of him to watch, but he's a Mexican and he comes prepared to fight. And saying his loss against Spence, I'm a big fan of Spence. I think he's pound for pound probably one of the best fighters in the world today, and he's a bad motherfucker. But and there's no shame in getting knocked out by Spence. So I think it's a scary fight for Tim. Even though his confidence is higher, I maybe would have picked someone else.
Yeah, okay.
Knowing that Charlo's down the track.
Do you think he can do anything to Charlo? Do you think he can beat Charlo?
Oh, that's a big call.
Charlo, he's the best out of the 2 Charlos, the one he's up against. By far. Mate, boxing's a funny game, you know. It's so in your head. And I remember when I was a kid walking in the Needham Police Boys, because Dad's best mate was Johnny Lewis, and I was only a baby and I wasn't boxing then, but he'd always say, hey, mate, the thing between your ears is the sharpest thing in the shed. And I'm thinking, what's he talking about? And then it's only when you start boxing as a kid and you fight yourself and you spar, you realise this is everything. Yeah. So you can, and a couple of fights, I was a bit under-experienced and I give too much weight away from this guy, and I fought out at Penrith one night. And I'll come out, I was real flashy, I hit him with everything, and then we were told, mate, look out for the bowl over, because the coconuts love bowling over. He hit me, I hit the deck, and the shooters waited there a bit and put the standing 8 count on myself. I take the knee, I just jumped straight up because of ego, and I was just trying to punch the shit out of him. He threw the bowl over again. And there was a time there I thought I was on, because there was times where it would go from one side to the other, the boxing fight. Then once you start thinking, I'm gone here, you actually bring that to life. But if you start thinking, I got this bloke, I'm all over him. So this is what determines where you're going. Your confidence, and you can talk yourself into winning the fight, or even knowing, once you get hurt and you start hiding, then you start in the crowd around you, you're thinking, I'm going to get embarrassed here. So it's not really much of getting hurt, it's more getting embarrassed, and you're under lights and you're on TV. So you just got to be confident. And I think with Zoo, Tim, he has another win, he'd be hard to beat, because he'd be flying. You think he's gone to America, he's beat this guy, he beat Harrison, he beat Charlo, and they picked this bloke who I think is a very dangerous fight, given his record. If he can knock this bloke over, well, mate, confidence says a lot. So boxing's one punch can turn the whole fight. So I love to see him win, but the bloke he's up against he's pretty good. He's a bad dude too.
Yeah.
So, nice.
Let's see.
All right, let's get back on the NRL and we'll kick off with the Big 7.
Yeah.
Gav, this is one you were real keen to talk about, up-and-comers in the NRL.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a look at some of these players. I've had the luxury of coaching a couple as well. Davey Mawali from South, 19 years of age.
Yep.
Came through that pedigree with Joseph Swaley and that Harold Matt side I had. He was my front rower. Champion football, 300 metres a week when he was playing in Mats. He was just a machine. Didn't go off for any game that we played. Front row.
Front row, 300
metres.
Yeah,
wow. He must be doing some yards.
He was about 100 kilos at the time. But he was doing 80 minutes 70 minutes for us every game.
Offloading and ball skills as well, or just straight up and down?
Offload, but just mainly getting us to points on the field at all times. But 20 metres, 30 metres every time he was making yardage every game. But he's his record so far, 20 years of age, tackle efficiency 94.4%, 136 tackles. So he's missed something like 6 tackles as a front rower this year.
What's his physique? Is he ripped at 100 kilos? Yeah, he sounds like he'd be super fit.
He's only about 105 kilos, so he's super fit. Averaging 88 metres off the bench. So he's coming off the bench. Right, 88 metres a game.
It's a big effort, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's 19.
And he's 19.
Was he a schoolboy?
Turning 20. Yeah. So he's gone through the grades. I sort of the Telegraph rang me one day and said, "What do you think about this kid?" And I said, "Look, I think he's an ex-Glenn Lazarus. Once he gets himself into about 21, 22, I think that's the sort of footballer he'll end up becoming."
He had a good supportive game too, Lazarus. He's always there, the last ball and scoring tries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he could run, Lazarus.
He was a great footballer. As a young kid, Lazarus too was a really good footballer. Carl Pereira, Gold Coast, 21 years of age, 9 appearances and 11 tries already.
He's impressive. God, he can finish off, can't he?
Yeah, he's
got some amazing
the chip and chase too on the weekend, didn't he?
What a try. How good was that try?
Yeah. Was his name?
That was like a Billy Slater-esque try, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
very
brilliant.
confident.
Absolutely brilliant. I reckon he's, for the Gold Coast, one of the big players coming through their ranks at the moment. I think by the end of this year, they'll be talking about him at State of Origin level.
Wow.
I just think he's got something, this kid. And
do you still need to fill out a little bit? He's a little bit skinny still, a bit wiry. He's only young though.
Yeah, you look at a lot of wingers, look, there's some real powerful wingers, but there's also your slight wingers that are doing some really good
Does he
stuff.
play fullback? He's quite short for a winger too these days.
Yeah, look, I
I
think there might be an opening because of the signing this morning of Campbell to Parramatta.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so he's just signed with the Parramatta Eels. So that's something that they could look at.
Oh, I believe. Yeah, he's
someone else is standing out to you, Garth?
Well, mate, I played with his old man. I think Preston, given the time he's played already and the tries that he's scoring in the toughest rugby league comp in the world, I think he's the front runner for me. He's got a good brain, very mature. I just like what I see. But even the guy played at number 1 for the Tigers on the weekend. He was saving tries and scoring tries for his second game.
Going back to Campbell, Gutherson made it quite clear, 3 or 4 weeks ago, that was he wanted to look at moving into the centres, and if there was someone that they could get that had that electrifying speed, great feet, I think with Parramatta he's got a good chance of going to another level.
Yeah, I agree.
Dad, so let's see. I think that's a great signing for the Eels. Just another kid coming through, Paul Alamotti from Canterbury. Another one, 19. I've watched him since he was 13 years of age. An absolute machine. My young bloke actually played against him in the under-13s when Manly played Canterbury, and they beat us, I think it was 40 points to 0 in 25 minutes.
Wow.
They built up men at 13,
were superstars.
for sure.
And Paul played against my top South side in the final and a year young and destroyed Souths. So I think he's a kid coming through. The one you spoke about, Garth, is Buller, Jareem Buller. 21 years of age. These stats are ridiculous for me. 3 games, 14 tackle breaks, 153 metres average running metres every week, and he's only into his 3rd game. And if that's one they've got to watch, Tigers, wrap him up now.
And I saw he was very committed. Like, especially I played a fullback, and not so much how many tries you can score, it's how many you can save. You know what I mean? And he really puts his body on the line. That last one, where I think St George bombed the try. They didn't even just play unders. They put a flick ball out the back, and I think it was Sloan didn't. All he had to do was run straight and just play unders, where he went for a cutout, and then the other bloke stance and then flick balled out the back.
Well, I think he's special because you saw what he did with Cleary the week before.
Yeah, you're right.
And you know yourself, we all know, watching a footballer.
Yeah.
He's the type of player that you're actually watching to see what he's going to do next. And you don't really get a lot of that with the Tigers at the moment. Yeah. But this kid, I think he could change the Tigers' way of playing because he's just dynamic at the back.
True.
And he's making a lot of yardage.
Yeah.
So I think Buller's the other one. And for me, the last one, Manly Junior, Jacob Preston, the edge playing for Canterbury.
I haven't watched enough of him.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. I mean, 21 years of age again, 10 appearances, 5 tries already, 359 tackles made at 96% efficiency, right?
Wow.
For a young kid at 21. averaging 90 run metres on the edge every week. So
There's some pretty awesome stats for a young
huge
player, isn't it?
Gus would be very happy with bringing a kid like him, and probably got him really cheap from Manly because he wasn't getting an opportunity at Manly.
Yeah.
Probably picked him up nice and cheap and got him over. Well, I'm hearing Roosters. Now, I thought he played for Manly, so that's my bad. He's a Roosters. Oh, there you go. He played for both. See, Tommy, it's like God is coming over the fucking top of me, right?
God with the bad haircut.
God. Fucking hell. He's put me off. But,
Not just that, you talk about rookies. You see that kid that played for the Dolphins on the weekend, and he's Val.
Well, I've got
Val,
him.
and he does the hucker at the end. He's a machine.
I've,
See the size of him?
I've got him somewhere here. What was his name?
Val or something.
Yeah, Valence, whatever his name is. But he's an ex-rugby union player.
Was he schoolboy? Or
Yeah,
he couldn't get a start.
New Zealand. Couldn't get a
Because
start.
they know their talent, don't they? The rah-rah.
And he's a greenkeeper at the Red Cliff
It's an amazing story, wasn't it? That
Yeah.
he's lobbed there, got picked, didn't quite cut it initially, didn't have his head in it, was doing the greenskeeper, and then they've ended up seeing him play and said, "What do you want to start?"
Yeah. Well, see, that's unearthing. I mean, Bennett's an absolute unbelievable coach. Everyone's talking about him being probably one of the greatest of all times in all facets of sport. You've got to look at that Katoa as well.
Isaiah Katoa,
the 5'8".
Yeah.
Playing some brilliant footy.
Superstar rugby union player.
Just on Bennett, a lot of coaches get talked about when they coach these sides that have amazing cattle. Like I know Trent Robinson, some people draw back and say he's not that great a coach because he's got the cattle.
Mm-hmm.
I still think you have to do it, but I think one thing you can say about Bennett right now is he's really getting a team of no names or old names to really produce.
Yeah.
They're not going to win the comp, but the fact that they're even in contention for the 8 is impressive.
My brother lived with Wayne for
Did he?
6 months when he went to the Broncos.
Did you ever see him smile in that 6 months?
Mate, he was shit scared of him. He was shit scared of him at home. You know, when they were living together, he wouldn't say a word. But it's the aura of the bloke, you know.
You just saw how relaxed he was, but like really 900 didn't mean anything to him. He said it's just like it's just another game, and like you just see how the young blokes just think he's just that good father figure. He just laid back.
Yeah.
Mate, just go out there and have fun.
Like a fine wine.
Enjoy
Enjoy
your footy.
Well,
He said something, that kid.
The
that
present.
Val.
Yeah. But the presentation was supposed to be on the field to honour him for his 900. He said, no, get in the dressing chair.
Yeah, he's special.
That's the type of guy he is.
Yeah.
He was a massive figure at South when I was there. Just 6'3" or whatever he is, and he just walks in, and you just stand to attention with this guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's just I was actually playing Harold Matts at Canberra when he first started in '87.
And he played fullback for the Maroons too, didn't he?
Wing.
He wasn't bad.
I think
Was
he was
he a wing? I thought he was a
yeah.
fullback.
Played for Australia.
Yeah, he's supposed to be pretty good.
The wing, yeah.
I'd say
Ex-cop.
you'd love to get him on a podcast, but he wouldn't say anything. They asked him in the interview when they come back for the week before when they got 20 points down at half time, or 25 points down at half time. They said, Wayne, in the press conference after the game, Wayne, what did you say to them at half time? And he just looks at the camera and goes, I don't recall. It's like he's in a court. The police are on it. What happened here, mate? I don't recall.
Yeah.
Showing the light in his
Well,
face.
what did he say to the kid on the weekend that we're just talking about, Val?
Yeah.
He just said, tackle hard, run hard, and have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his.
It's what you've been doing since you were 5 years old, playing in the park.
Our coach,
Take that back on
our
the
coach
big
at
game.
Kenzo, his thing goes, mate, football is a simple game played by simple people, so keep it very simple.
Exactly.
A
Absolutely.
great philosophy. And
You
when
put
we-
too much pressure on yourself, that's when you have a shocker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Worrying about the cameras are on you, just like a fight, the same thing. Just overthinking in there. If you just go out there and just go and have fun.
All right, let's move on to point 2. Should South be genuine favourites? They're very close. I think Penrith are 420. They're about.
Mate, I'm a
440.
South junior. I was actually back end of last year. I really couldn't stand them. Some of them weren't putting their hand up and blaming others around them. But what I've seen the last month, mate, they're attacking on both sides of the field. And even their defence, they're pushing blokes back 5 metres. And I'm a big fan of the centre. I'd love to see him get a start in Origin this year. Campbell Graham. He proved himself in the World Cup too. So I think he's come on leaps and bounds. And, you know, he can either be a passer or he can hit a hole. Yeah. And it says a lot in centres for today's game.
So do you have him favourite in your eyes?
I think so. Yeah.
What price are you marking? You want to bet now?
It'd be them head-to-head with Penrith because Penrith you just never know.
So the market's about right.
Yeah, I'd have him probably at $5, $4 to $5 at the moment. But like, you've got to give a big rap to Demetrio too. He's lost Reynolds, and he's still able to produce a side playing both sides of the ruck.
Yeah.
And really attacking footy. Their left side was always their strongest side, but now the right side's actually starting to click. And then they get Jack White in next year.
Ilias is starting to put it together.
Yeah.
His kicking game's not bad too. He's turned around.
Yeah. He's improving. But at the same time, they've got their two best players can be their two biggest risks in my eyes in those pressure games. You've got Cody, who can sometimes, as your brother says, throw the toys out of the cot. And you've got Latrell, who can sometimes go, oh, there's a butterfly, and just go missing.
But is it any coincidence that South are playing?
But he's a freak.
You're right.
But it's 100%. But on a dime, he can just grab the ball and go, fuck you, and run away for the field.
Was it Grant that he manhandled? And they questioned on 360 about, why didn't he get a penalty? Why didn't he get sent off? It just shows you how big and strong that bloke is. Like he just wrestled two blokes and no one said a word. That Grant just copped it sweet and got back in the line. But he must be a strong man.
Coincidence that Walker's been playing really well in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and South are playing well. And he's a smoky for me for the state of Origin.
I'll give you a prime example.
Maybe. Would they play him 14 or would he start?
Jeez, I tell you, I'd love to start him because he's playing so well.
But I'll tell you why. The problem is he's not. I don't think he'll be picked because he's been put in that position in those pressure games, and I think he does have the habit of throwing the toys out of the cot, and that the Origin is the ultimate pressure
Freddie and
cooker.
Brandy, it's hard to change their mind if they've seen him do something before in the past.
And I think that's the issue. But when it comes to park footy, he's an absolute freak. And I'll tell you, the difference is when he does keep his head cool, when they played against Penrith the other week, that game was pretty much well and truly over. They were in it, and they came up with magic late in the game because he kept his cool, and they set up that last try to win the game.
What was the centre's name?
Tass.
Yeah. He's done some good things in the heat of the moment.
Tass has been a big change for them too.
Very good
up on him.
Playing good footy.
Because who's under pressure next year with Whiten coming in?
For sure.
You just wonder who's
they
under
win a
pressure.
comp this year, what happens then?
Tough,
a big chance.
Yeah,
big chance. All right, point 3. Who misses Magic rounds next year off their performance in Magic round?
Who wasn't Magic? Is that what you're saying?
Mate, the Brisbane teams were on fire.
All the Brisbane teams. So Newcastle missed it this year.
Yeah.
Apparently something to do with crowd or whatever it was. Going off performances though, who's the team that you'd say, all right, they probably
Manly
on their
or
performance?
Roosters?
Yeah.
Manly or Roosters?
I think Dragons.
Cronulla didn't aim up, but Dolphins are the form team in the comp other than South.
What about Sharks?
I really thought the Sharks were disappointing.
They were disappointing. But look at they're up against, and like everyone writes them all off. Like like you said, all the Brisbane teams played well, but they've been formed team in the comp other than South, the Dolphins, and they really put a good performance on the first 20 minutes. They blew them out of the park. But maybe I'm just looking at Manly because I expected more from Turbo, but I think his hamstring or whatever it is, he's grinding.
He does
that
not.
Kobo ran away from him. He didn't even look like gaining anything.
No way. Yeah.
Not at all. I've seen forwards grab him at the moment. He just doesn't look himself. He can't stretch out. He's got some incredible pace when he lets go.
Yeah, he's a bit shy, trying to put the foot to the metal.
I mean, everyone's saying, does he have to have an honest discussion with Fittler on whether he's right to play State of Origin? I'll tell you,
surely he's not even in the question.
If you're a spectator and you're a New South Wales supporter, at the moment you don't want him there because he's not at his peak. You want players at their peak.
Yeah,
on that stage, and Campbell Graham's.
It's not that he's playing. It's not even that he's playing bad footy. He looks hurt.
For you, who's the other centre?
No, well you got Latrell.
So
you got Mitchell and probably Campbell. They've just got so many.
Someone's
players.
going to play on the wing. Remember, back in the day, Chris Johns was a centre for Broncos, but he'd play on the wing for New South Wales.
Well, you got To'u. is one. I would say
Yeah, the Penrith I got.
and then you've probably got Steve Crichton.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Or
Jeez.
Addo Carr if he shows some form in the next 2 weeks.
He's got to do something in 2 weeks. But his ankle's not up to scratch, is it?
Don't they?
Well, you'd have to think that Brad Fittler really has to put it all together for this state of origin because he's got some super footy players. But I tell you what, though, Queensland, they're winning a lot of football games up there with their clubs. So
all right, so I think we got off topic now. Who's the team that you would miss Magic round next should miss off their performance on the weekend?
You go first.
Sharks.
Sharks.
I thought they were
I
terrible.
say Manly.
All right.
Yeah.
Now we can go back to Origin because we're talking about the number 6, but we can expand on it. Nico Hines, obviously, they got smashed on the weekend.
Yeah.
In a pressure game up there. It wasn't his best game.
And that's what he's going to see up there.
Who's the
Lang Park
5'8"?
when it comes Saturday
Who's the
Origin
5'8"?
too. That sort of
Luai.
crowd.
Is Burton in discussion?
No, I think Luai will be the 5'8". I think he's been in the big stage. He knows the pressure there. Are they playing at their best at the moment, him and Cleary? Probably not, but, we're talking state of origin.
They've been there before?
They've been there before.
You'd have to see. You think stick with him?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying, do you agree?
Mate, knowing how the selectors are at that time of year, I probably would lean more towards that, but you can't take much. I know he had a bad game on the weekend. Well, he didn't have a bad game, but the team didn't perform. But he's missed 4 games and he's still probably 6 on the ladder in the Dally M points. I think he needs to get a start somewhere, even if he's number 14.
I think he's a 14 guy.
All right, so
I really do.
who, Nico? So
I think he's a 14.
I'm in agreement. I'd play him. And the beautiful thing is, a fullback goes down, his centre goes down. You can just about fit him anywhere in the side. I'd have Nico as your 14.
I think what I said probably 6 weeks ago is that he plays at one pace.
Yeah.
Which at state of origin level, you can't play at one pace.
Yeah.
You've got to take another level in your speed. And that's what he's probably got to say to himself. In the next couple of games, I need to actually go to another level in my speed on the field. Because if he plays at that one pace, he'll get belted.
Yeah.
And Walker's got to be a smoky.
All right.
For me.
Very hard, very hard.
All right, point 5. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Point 5 is the Manu experiment over at the Roosters. Do you bring Sammy Walker back?
I like Walker. I think he's been hard done by. Saying that, I'd leave Manu at 6. I'd give Walker another crack.
So you sit Kiri out?
Maybe the concussion factor in that. He gets knocked around a little bit. Give Walker another start.
I think the thing that they've lacked, and poor Drew Hutchison absolutely copped it. He wasn't there on the weekend. But Billy Smith come back into the side at centre. I think when they attack best, I think the kid attacks good. I'd be bringing Walker back to the side. I'd be keeping Kira in the halves with him. Push Manu there. You've got Manu back to centre, Billy Smith in centre, Sualihi out the wing, and then eventually you have Tubes. So at the moment you've got that. Then you've got Jackson. But that Jackson Paulo's been doing a good job. If you look at that as your back line, it's a solid back line. I think the issue with it is you've got two little blokes. You can hide one. It's hard to hide two.
Yeah, I just think Manu at the moment hasn't really performed to the Manu we know. In the last, he's gone really quiet for me. I mean, he was dominant last year as a player. I rated him highly last year, and it's just not working for him. I wonder if you've got to put him back to the centres in his position.
I think you have to.
You can't have Hutchison there. So I'm not sure why Robinson's persisting with Hutchison.
Well, he didn't last week finally, but he had prior to that. Last week, Billy Smith.
He came in for Monorosky.
He did for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, this week because he got injured. So I would have bought the young bloke back up, Walker.
Yeah.
And put him at 5'8", like we were saying. Leave Kiri at half. And would have had Manu back in the centres.
Yeah, and then you got Billy Smith there, and I think that's a pretty solid
good
side.
player.
I haven't seen enough of him, but is he back from injury? And then
he's back from injury, yeah. And look, at the end of the day, just on that Roosters game, yes, they were disappointing, but I think they got beaten by the the Cowboys of last year. Yeah. They played some good footy on the weekend. On the weekend. That's how they played. They played that good, and considering it was quite wet and slippery, I thought they played really good footy.
But I was tipping them as one of the the hot teams this year, given on what happened last year to them, where they were hard done by with that try.
Yeah.
But they just hasn't performed their ability that they did last year. So
Jeez,
I love Todd Payton too, but it's sad
they
to
showed
say.
it, Garth. They showed it on the weekend.
Yeah.
I thought, I said the one-hit wonders. I thought everyone knows how North Queensland play now,
Yeah.
but I tell you, they showed some grit on the weekend. They were bloody good. And Roosters had nothing. They just had no answer in attack whatsoever to the defence. Now, if Payton can keep on coming up with that every week, and Dean Young's his defence coach, which
Is he?
highly,
I didn't know that, yeah.
he's highly rated as a defence coach. Maybe they can start coming home very strong, the Cowboys.
All right, 0.6. A Canberra top 8 side starting to string a couple of wins together.
No,
No.
They're not
what
far
I've
off it
seen.
now. They're running 9th, aren't they?
Yeah, they put a few wins there. It's funnily enough, I think I said a few episodes ago,
Yeah.
they can go on a run, and
I
they've
think
started to do it.
Whiten, given the fact that he's probably be playing with his head, thinking, I know him and Ricky are pretty tight, and I think he's going to play his heart out the rest of the season. Could be playing on emotion. Sometimes they can play for you or can't play for you, but I don't know what their run-in is, but I think they can put a few more wins together. I think they've got some good try scorers out there, but if they do, they just fall in.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, when I say no, guess what'll happen? I'll make it. Every time I fucking say something, it goes the other way around.
Oh, you'll love that. You'll love 0.7 now.
Yeah, I just think I think they've still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
The Raiders. I mean, they're scraping in against some of the not as fancied sides.
Yeah.
They haven't played the top sides yet. Let's just wait and see. I think Dolphins are the ones really at the moment.
All right, 0.7. Can Tigers win the comp?
Win the comp.
No, I'm joking. Can Tigers finish above the spoon?
Mate, they got a big ass this week. I want to see them, if they can be competitive and not get absolutely flogged by South, well, then you can start asking the question.
Yeah.
If they can hold their weight for, you're going to expect South to come out and just flog them. If they can hold their own for a good 60, 70 minutes and then they can do South, they run away over the last 10, maybe not saying they're going to make top 8, but I'd like to see them, midfield or just be competitive.
You definitely think they won't. They're a good chance of
I want to see how they go
spoon.
this week against the team I rate as the best team in the comp.
What do you reckon?
I just think you look at the form probably 3 weeks ago when South beat Penrith by a try. Then South go and absolutely demolish Brisbane.
Yep.
Penrith lose to Tigers. St George lose by 1 point against the Roosters in that Anzac game. I think there's probably a little bit better form that we're thinking with the Tigers.
The Tigers?
Yeah, I
They've
think they're
definitely
starting to
got a
put it
little bit of
together.
X factor in the side. If
Yeah.
they can put it together.
And your outside backs can score some tries.
That's what I mean.
Well, you play Manly a week later and Tigers beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, I sort of tipped them to beat them a few weeks ago, but there's a lot of teams on the slide where the Tigers are starting to go up,
Yeah.
which might work in their favour. I don't know. They won't beat South.
Well, they get a bye, I think, in another week. So that's another
Does
2
everyone get
points.
2 buys? I was just looking through it. Is that how it works?
That's a good question.
Yeah, no, that couldn't work.
No, couldn't,
with
could
the
it?
number of
There's
teams.
a couple. I
and
know
the-
Canberra get 2, Tigers get 2.
Yeah, it might be the
So,
luck of the draw.
Yeah,
that you
Canberra a
get
chance
two.
of making the 8, and we talk about that.
Yeah.
So I know they
Yeah.
get 2 buys.
Yeah, but the
think
Tigers
the
won't
Tigers are the
finish
same.
last.
No.
No.
No way. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the preview. We kick off with a good game. Melbourne Storm, $1.71 against Brisbane Broncos, $2.15. I think this is a real good testing game for Brisbane to
I
go.
want to see if they're fair income.
If
'Cause
they're
like
fair-
you said, they got beat by, who was it, 2 weeks ago?
They got slapped by South,
Yeah.
but they were missing 2 key players.
They got beat by someone 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that was South.
They
where
got-
they
Yeah,
got
South,
slaughtered.
when they got absolutely
I thought it
slaughtered.
was someone else too. They beat them.
No.
They had 2 losses, Broncos?
They may have
Canberra?
lost. Yeah,
Canberra.
Canberra.
Canberra rolled them up
beat them.
there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's what I
You're
was
right.
That was the
Yeah,
start
yeah,
of the Canberra gravy train.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're the real deal. Like, I know they can beat the mediocre teams, but when it comes to the top 4, top 5, it's in
Yeah.
the balance.
I picked them for the
they're
top
red hot,
4.
but
Yeah, I picked them at the top.
I think
four.
they can score tries. And
Well,
we've
they
seen
look the
that.
third pick in the ladder at the moment.
Reynolds has to stay fit.
Yeah. A couple injuries and
And their 4-pack. Now, where they're going to really struggle is through State of Origin because they're going to have a lot of players in that Origin side.
True.
So, but I reckon Brisbane this week. I think off the back of that last week, I thought they were super.
You like them straight out or the plus 2.5?
I like them at plus 2.5. Yeah, I mean, I think Melbourne. I don't know though. You can't read a form on Melbourne. One week they're great. Next minute they're absolutely terrible.
I'd stick with the Broncos.
Yeah,
You're sticking with the Broncos?
Head-to-head.
Yeah, head-to-head. All right. Game 2, Canterbury Bulldogs, $2 against New Zealand Warriors, $1.80.
Bulldogs home advantage.
Bulldogs home ground advantage.
yeah, I like the Bulldogs at
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
That's a tough one, that one, because they're red hot. They're hot and cold, I meant, the Warriors. They perform pretty good. They're still in the balance. They got that new coach. And they remember back in the
I think
day.
this is the most consistent we've seen
they
the
could
Warriors.
only play 60-minute football, but they're always. I see improvement with them. I like to see them turn it around. I say Warriors.
You're leading towards Warriors. What about you, Gav?
I'll go Bulldogs, mate.
Bulldogs?
They
me.
had a good win on the weekend. So,
They did. I forgot that.
yeah.
All right, next game. Penrith Panthers, $1.50 against the Chookies, $2.60, 5.5 start.
At Penrith.
Yeah. Liam Martin's on the extended bench for Penrith. Roosters, Egan Butcher out.
Can the Chooks play any worse than what they did on the weekend? Yeah.
I don't know.
For me, it depends on whether Walker's in the side or not. I think if Walker's back in the side and they put Filter out, I'd be interested potentially being on him with start, but
I don't think I've seen the Roosters as rudderless as I did on the weekend. They just had no answer on attack. Where to actually... I mean, I've never seen a Roosters side like I saw on the weekend.
Yeah.
Hence, I'm going with Penrith.
Saying that, I forgot all about him. Tedesco. Is he definite in the State of Origin team, or does he have to start pulling his finger out?
Oh, he'll be.
Will he
he'll
on the
be
bench,
there.
or will
He'll
he
be
be
there. He'll be
starting
captain.
one?
He'll be starting
He'll
one.
be starting.
I'll be very
captain.
surprised if they don't be. He'd have to have an absolute shocker this next 2 weeks to.
It's
and
possible
even
with
then-
their form. As a team, they're going terrible. I'll be on Penrith all day, given
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough from the Roosters yet. And
Which I do, but funny thing, before last week, I think they were sitting fifth on equal 4th points. So as much as they haven't been going good,
yeah.
they're still sitting in the ladder.
I think this is the first time I've seen their coach really
Frustrated.
challenged.
Yeah.
You know, he's really challenged at the moment. He's sort of moving players around, trying to get the right formula, and he's got to get it soon.
Yeah.
I don't think you get it this week, though.
All right, next game, North Queensland Cowboys at home, $1.45 to St George Dragons, $2.75. 6.5 start.
Cowboys' form last week, like we said, shades
Loved
of the
it.
last year.
If they can put together what they did last week and reproduce
Loved
that at
them.
home,
I couldn't see St George just doing the fundamentals. There was no catch and pass.
yeah.
They had an opportunity to score in the corner the other week, and one bloke threw a cut out to the winger, and the other bloke threw a flick pass out his arse. It was like, you're supposed to be first graders, you know what I mean? Like, it was a simple unders play in their score.
There's something.
There's probably
severely wrong
frustration
there
because
at
they're
the
playing
moment,
the Tigers, and then they're going to be wooden spooners. They can't beat us, so they're trying to do miracle plays every time they get the ball. It's just immaturity, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Cowboys can defend with the intensity of last week, Saints have got no hope. Cowboys.
All right. Canberra Raiders at home, $1.65 against Parramatta Eels, $2.25. Can we see
Para turn it around. Like their form hasn't been 100%. They've
Moses
scraped
is
in
out.
with some. Yeah, he's out.
Arthur's in. I think that's a key loss for them.
That's a
Canberra
big
at
loss.
home with Whiting trying to show some.
What are they paying Canberra?
They're $1.65 minus 2.5.
Yeah, I've got them all day.
Yeah, I think Whiting's just trying to prove himself. He might feel a bit upset that he's just walked away from Canberra, given that he had
He
most
showed a
of
lot
his
of
career there.
emotion after that
Yeah.
announcement.
And the way he played on the weekend, yeah, he wants to make every post a winner. So yeah, I'm on Canberra.
Yep. Newcastle Knights, $1.90 against the Gold Coast Titans, $1.90.
Wow, Gold Coast were really good.
Oh, yeah.
And Knights have
The
been
winger, what's his name again? The big rat
Pereira
one?
Khan. Yeah, he was
He's a
great.
confident player, and if he gets in the daylight, he's hard to catch.
Yeah, Knights have been in Bali for a couple of weeks.
There you go.
They've had the Barley Sun. How good's that?
Mind you, there's only one Blake in Bali. Did you see that?
Was it only
There was
one?
only one.
No one
Go
put anything
Buzz.
up.
They've had a shocker. Yeah, there
Wow.
was, their centre, what's the big fella's name in the centre's a young guy?
Bradman?
Bradman
Best.
He was the only one.
What was he thinking, though? Going to Barley
He
mid-season.
blew up. Gus blew up, or someone had a go at him, didn't they? They
Phil
commented on it.
Rothfield
would
ripped
have
him.
been
Yeah.
probably was it Paul Kent and Phil Rothfield?
Right. Yeah, just ripped in, I think.
Yeah, but no, look, I think again, I think I worry about the Gold Coast. 1 minute they can really put something
They're a
together.
rocks and diamonds side, aren't
Yeah.
they? Touch
They're
footy
leading
sides can
30-0
score
or
it,
something against the Dolphins,
Dolphins.
and
Yeah.
they can really put it together. They smashed Manly,
Yeah.
so they're starting to actually show a bit of form. I'm going to probably go the Coast.
Yeah, I'm with the Titans.
Yeah,
with the Titans.
After
Look at
last
the
week's
Greens,
performance, and they got some star players in there. They'll love scoring tries. And
Yep.
Newcastle have been bashed up in the media. I'll be sticking with the Titans.
Yeah. All right. Manly Sea Eagles, $2.60 against the Cronulla Sharks, $1.50. 4.5 start to the Eagles back at home, 4 Pines. They look to be just going awful. I can see Gav, he's just trying to. You want to tip him.
I'm trying to process them at the moment. I've seen them do some really good things at 4 Pines this year, and then they just were terrible against the Coast at 4 Pines.
Mate,
Schuster, Harper, and extended
isn't
bench
he got a
possibly.
problem with his weight as well? I reckon he's within 10 days of.
Spud's had him though for
Did
a
he?
week. Apparently he's
Down
lost
more
about
weight,
no.
punching on.
Apparently
Needs to get up the
Spuddy's
road
lost
to the
about 6
Colombian
kilos.
where he was.
He's-
That's where he needs a good weekend with him and his brother. That's what he needs.
Yes. So,
I can't see Cronulla losing 2 on the trot after they played so bad on the weekend. I'm sure Fitzy would have got right up him, and I think that Nico Hines is that sort of bloke who would love to come out and smash Manly off the park.
I think
Yeah,
lately
so-
Cronulla's form hasn't been too bad at 4 Pines.
Yeah.
I don't think they're and I think Nico will come out
He'll be all
firing.
gun,
He
wants to make
wants
a
to make that
statement.
state of origin side. So
I think it's an important game for them to really bounce back and say, hey, all right,
Yeah.
we fucked up last week, we're back. I think the good teams very rarely lose 2 in a row like
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
yeah,
And
I tell you the one I worry about is Moylan. Like he got absolutely pumped
He
on
did.
the weekend.
Who was that shot him?
Yeah,
Someone
just
snapped him in
came
half.
straight under him and snapped him in half. But I still worry about Moylan at Cronulla. But mate, they got the best back three Cronulla in the game, and they can't have a bad game again. Those back three, they're too good. Kennedy,
Yeah, he's playing great football.
Katoa is and Mulatara. They're 3 brilliant players. So.
All right, what's your bet of the round?
I'm giving the start. Cronulla going to wipe them.
Cronulla going to wipe him.
Yeah.
What's your bet of the round?
Ooh, I haven't really studied, but who's South up against?
The
Tigers.
Tigers.
2 teams I played for. Ooh, I'm a Souths boy. I had 1 year at the Tigers, but what start are they given?
They are 15.5 start. Can they cover 15.5? It's a big start.
I'll take Tigers given the start. I'll getting
Getting
the
the
start.
start.
Getting the start. Sorry.
What about you, Gab?
Mate, I reckon Cronulla. I think that might be my bet of the round.
Yeah, cover the line. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think
4.5.
they're just in form, and Manly's a little bit out of form at the moment.
Can I just say, you always tip the Eagles at 4 Pines, and you tip the Tigers every week, and the 1 week you went off them, they've lobbed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bet the fuck up on the Eagles. I think. You'll just have to, you will be demoted to Reggies again next week.
I honestly think you're going to get it. Because every fucking time I pick someone, it's always the opposite.
All right, awesome.
All right.
Well, thanks, Garth.
My
Good
pleasure,
seeing you.
fellas. Thanks for having me.
That's another week of No Rules NRL. Remember to subscribe and go to btfu.com.au. Cheers.